Wednesday would be your 27th.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you could call him, actually, in 1 minute, my alarm is gonna be, so, I mean, it wouldn't hurt him to be on the phone for a minute.
Yeah.
Because they have to
If you have to do them all meetings going on, but meetings. That's just their operating fees
Okay, yeah.
to get their license.
Yeah. I think he said he will not be in attendance until
Oh, we
the
got
end of the school year.
We got something on.
We did, 2015 we signed up.
Good.
It's nice. So if we ever do any training or anything
We'll
like
check
that,
on
or
Oh.
if district meetings ever happen again face to face, we'll have a card to take.
Okay.
Marcus,
Yes.
the meeting's getting ready to start in about a minute. You're on speakerphone, and I'll put you in the middle of the table if that's okay.
That is fine. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Marcus,
Yeah.
did you get the 2 emails I sent you?
Yes.
Oh, did you?
That was the beep. It is 6 p.m. If we could all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic of which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right. Meeting was called to, we're at 6. Well, that doesn't sound good. I don't know what's going on here. Bear with me just a moment, please.
How's the weather there, Marcus?
It is snowy, but like not really compared to what South Dakota gets for snow. So it is a normal day if you ask me. If you ask a DC person, it is snowy.
So does the wind blow like crazy there too?
No, I didn't think it was too bad, but it was just like a light breeze and some sleety rain snow.
Is the battery not in or the chip not in?
Chip's in. I don't know why it's asking for the battery. It says you can take it out. Is that plugged in?
Yes, sir.
Sorry, Marcus, I'm having some technical difficulties here. If you can just bear with me for a moment.
Take your time.
Maybe removing that memory stick wasn't a good idea before the meeting. Okay. We will go on to approve the agenda if everybody's had an opportunity to look it over. The only thing that we're going to add, and I think I'll probably just put it in public input, is just this blurb about this virtual legislative briefing that is actually tomorrow, and then Wednesday, a Zoom thing that all of us can be a part of. The email came out at 4:16 p.m. today, so aside from that, if everybody's had an opportunity to look at the agenda, I would need a motion to approve now.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second it.
So Marcus, Melissa made the motion and Darla seconded it. to approve the agenda. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Marcus, how do you vote?
Aye.
Melissa?
Aye.
Darla?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
Linda?
Aye.
5 yes. Do we need approval of the minutes of the January 4th and 18th meetings?
I would make a motion to approve the minutes of the January 4th and January 18th, 2021 meetings.
I'll second that.
All right, Dave Larsen made the motion, and Linda Talbot seconded. Is there any discussion?
I just had a quick question. Pat, were you able to make that correction that I asked?
We can put that correction in, and then I will include a copy of that paragraph in this publication.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Correction of what?
He would like the word alleged added before executive session. In the January 4th meeting minutes, where we were talking about, I listed the items that Ms. Larsen had comments about, and the last item that I had was executive session violations, and Marcus would like the word alleged in front of that.
So, aside from that change, which will be publicized with these minutes from tonight's meeting as an addendum to these other minutes from the 4th, right? Is there any other discussion?
Do we need to amend the motion?
Well, actually, we're talking about the minutes of January 4th and 18th. Really, what she's going to do is just change one word in, or add one word to the minutes. So actually, it would be a separate motion to allow that to happen, I guess. Because really, they're minutes that have happened prior to January 4th, right? No, it was
No, they were on
January 4th.
January
I'm sorry, excuse me. You can do that.
Well, I would make a motion to amend my previous motion to include the word that Marcus wanted added to the January 4th minutes.
I'll still second that.
Okay, Marcus, excuse me. We now have an amendment to that motion that is on the floor. That amendment is from Dave and seconded by Linda to add the word alleged in the minutes of January 4th. Is there any discussion? So we are voting on the amendment. Marcus, how do you vote?
Aye.
Melissa?
Aye.
Darla?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
And Linda?
Aye.
5 yes. Now, excuse me, regarding the motion to approve the minutes with that change, is there any other discussion? Hearing none. Marcus, how do you vote?
Aye.
Melissa?
Aye.
Darla?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
And Linda?
Aye.
5 yes. We'll move on to number 5, that is public input.
I have a couple things, just quick. One, how are we coming on the website?
It should be up,
It should be up?
not physically yet, but I mean, before our next council meeting.
Okay, okay. I did have one comment. I'm seeing a lot of erosion coming off the, which one am I? The buildings over here where that storage facility is, that yellow garage. It looks like there's some erosion, and at the time, I believe that when you approved it, that David had asked for a retaining wall, and that has not been put in, but I'm seeing some erosion on that barn, or not barn, but garage. And it might be a concern to the city if it would erode further to where the thing collapsed. And I just wanted to point that out to you. And the other thing I had is Councilman Ireland's telephone number available to the parties within his ward so they can contact him if they need to?
I think it's listed in the Alderman, isn't it, in the paper?
I believe so.
Should be.
I don't know that I've seen that in the papers the last week.
Well, and,
Hasn't been published yet. This week it should be
Yeah.
published.
okay.
Okay, so it will be published this week. Okay.
Would it have
That's,
been before?
Not for quite some time, no.
Oh, not for a while,
Yeah.
okay,
And
all right.
but like I said, since he's gone and not going to be present, that his constituents need to be able to get a hold of him. Thank you.
Oh, it is, I'm sorry, it is in the
I
28th.
thought it was.
Okay,
I thought it was
so
in last week's paper.
Marcus, I don't know if you heard all that, but the last thing was about your telephone number and whether it was listed in the paper, and it has been listed in the paper, so.
It's a house phone though, right?
Yes, that is.
Yeah,
Not a cell phone.
the home phone number, and I'm assuming you've got voicemail on that.
The home phone,
Yeah,
well, I probably won't be getting any of those messages.
is that an Alliance number?
Yeah, it's a 934 number.
I'm not home to get them, so obviously my family can answer the message and send it to me. You can post my cell phone number,
Okay, that's a good idea.
that way I can actually get the voicemails directly instead of
You can get
calling
a,
through the grounds.
you can get an Alliance voicemail by just calling your home number and hitting the star key, but anyway,
Did
Oh, I didn't know that.
yeah.
Did we agree at one point, the last time we discussed the storage units, that Mr. Billingsley was going to take a look at it? Was that my understanding, or am I imagining that?
I don't think we said that. Now, it's not a bad idea.
With respect to the erosion, I'm not sure that anything can be done at this time in this season. I'm assuming the wall or additional grading will be done when spring allows.
Can you call, I can't remember the guy's name,
Rob,
can we just call him and find out what his plan is?
yes, I will do that.
Thank you.
I'd say that he just didn't have time in the fall, or didn't get it done in the fall before freeze up.
Okay, then the only other thing, oh, I'm sorry. Is there any other public input from the public? If not, it just came to my attention tonight, actually while I was driving here, or after I got here, I noticed my email pinged me, and there's a virtual legislative briefing, and I think you all got a document, tomorrow night, 5:30 p.m. And it's actually to allow you the opportunity to figure out how to access the committee meeting information that's happening the next night, February 3rd. Actually, those committee meetings are probably, I don't know, I think they're all day. I don't know about the time. I haven't had a chance to really read the dates, times, and everything else on
A lot of them are 10 o'clock, where it sounds.
in the morning, huh? Okay. There are Zoom instructions in this. You probably are familiar with how to use Zoom anyway now, especially after this last year, but if there's an issue, let us know. We'll point you in the right direction. Any other public input?
I've got a picture on my phone from someone saying this is what I have to look at out my window. And it was the big house. And it just stated, would you please look at your city ordinance? So
Okay?
So there
So-
must be concern, but
So they're thinking that it's,
too much.
I see.
What's too much?
The shelves on
Too
Beck,
tall?
the-
Is it like too tall or too,
I don't know, I've gotten a couple before, and they don't, I think they're worried about their house values. And they don't want me to say who they are, but they would like us to look at our ordinance or whatever about building.
They
So
want us to look at the existing one, or they want us to
they
change
think
it?
it should be looked at, so there's some
They want it changed.
restrictions.
going forward,
Yeah.
because obviously we
It's too- And
can't,
they both
they're,
say,
they're aware of that.
there's nothing you can do now, but we better look at it for the future.
I think our ordinances are probably pretty clear if we,
Well, like
Follow
I've
them.
said,
If we
none of
follow-
them are above their height. That wasn't an issue,
if we follow them to the letter.
right?
But when we start getting into variance territory, that's where we have problems.
Right.
If I may be recognized,
Yep.
you can go back and check on that. If anything happens to that thing and it goes down, then you can bar it from being put back up.
Well, sure, but obviously
It's
they're,
going
they're
forward,
building
it's
a
what
brand
Yeah.
new,
the concern is.
so,
Yeah.
yeah.
Is Sam not coming?
No, I'm sorry, I should have mentioned that too. Our legal counsel isn't actually here. He's available for a phone call if we need him.
I don't think I need to call him, it's just something that,
Right, I should have mentioned. I'm sorry. Any other public input?
I guess I'm still confused. They want the ordinance changed so that it forbids houses?
I don't know. I
It's hard to
don't-
change an ordinance if we don't know what.
That's
Well,
true.
I think all metal structure is the issue.
But it's not all metal. It has a rock front.
Yeah,
It has a nice covered wooden deck in the back.
and I don't know, I didn't even know how to answer it, but they think we should look at it.
And it does have, even though it's winter, it does have nice landscaping, what they could do.
I guess the
But it's
only,
got a lot of lights, and it's very bright.
the only thing I could think of is to ask them to specify what it is that they want changed. Is it the setback? Is it the height? Is it the lighting? Is it the siding? Like,
I
what
think it's the
specifically don't they want included in future structures?
Right.
Again, if I may be recognized,
Yes?
there is covenants that are attached to the property within that section. And that would definitely had to be a variance. So what they don't want is something that obstructive. Just the style and
As
the,
long as it's not going against the covenant, so.
Yeah, the but it's,
there's
it
nothing
is,
that can be done.
it is
I said
violating, it is
nothing.
violating the covenants as they're published with the properties. And I understand,
Is it with us?
It was with the developer, but it has since expired.
Well, like, I guess this would be a question for legal counsel, but I don't think the covenants really matter to us at all. That's a private property claim that somebody could bring up. But like, in terms of us, I think we have to make sure that they follow our, like, zoning ordinances. And if they do, then it's out of our hands. Unless, of course, we change our zoning ordinances and then we have to keep watching, but.
it took a vote to change those ordinances, those bylaws, or those, not bylaws, but the codes and covenants. It took a vote of the people in that development, and there was no vote.
But the covenant has since expired. So we need to look in,
I mean, even if it's an active covenant, that's not something for the city council to do anything, as far as I'm aware. I guess that's why we would need to talk to legal counsel, because I just don't think that the covenant covenants matter to the city. The covenants are a private thing.
Well, the covenant does matter to the city in respect to if the covenant was still active and someone was trying to build a structure that was too small, because that was one of the very specific items. We couldn't have put a tiny house up there. I think it had a minimum of 1,000 square feet of living space. But the covenant was created 25 years ago and it has since expired, so there are not those restrictions on the property right now.
Well, I understand that. What I'm saying is that, like, our restrictions are just the zoning ordinance. And so even if there was a covenant, all they have to do to satisfy us is follow our zoning code.
Right.
They wouldn't have to satisfy some totally random other set of rules, but that's not for us, that's for somebody else.
That's the developer's concern.
When the,
And that's between the developer and whoever the holder of the covenant is.
Right.
when the
I
city,
don't- I think
Between
it's,
them and me.
it's for future. It's
Yeah.
not now, it's for future.
Yeah.
And they're not even talking about the covenants, they're talking about our ordinances, so what they want us to do is to look at the ordinances, meaning they want us to change the ordinances, but we can't just change them arbitrarily. We need specifics, and if we can't get specifics, then the ordinances will remain the same until we do get specifics.
if I may ask, the city accepted this, the city took this development on, and the city took it over from a bank. So the city is involved in that respect.
We have an
And-
ordinance.
That, well, the covenants go with the property, it runs with the
Covenants have
property.
expired, they're irrelevant.
No, they're not
We're talking in
expired.
circles. Can we move on?
Yeah, okay, let's just move on. Is there any other discussion regarding any public input? If not, we'll move on to the department heads. Is Lonnie here?
No,
No.
it is not.
I do know that we've got this 2021 chip sealing document, and it should be noted that the chip sealing does not need to be let out for bids. However, Lonnie is, and I think rightly so, under the impression that competition may breed a little bit better break on the price. So, it's let out for bids. You'll see that we need a motion to approve that advertising and setting the bid date of March 1st, 2021 at 6:15 PM here at 500 Dakota Street.
We'll make a motion to approve advertising the chip sealing for a bid date of March 1st, 2021, time 6:15 PM in this building.
I'll second.
Motion was made by Melissa and seconded by Dave. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Marcus, how do you vote?
Aye.
Melissa?
Aye.
Darla?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
Linda?
Aye.
5 yes. The next item is the part-time position. Cash Hemmingson is working part-time, filling in some gaps specifically to help snow removal. He was helping for a while when they were doing the two-man version of marking out grave areas out in the cemetery. You know, some of the things that absolutely required two people. That's an FYI because evidently we've had some people asking about, is there another person on the payroll?
Did you already say this is part-time?
Yes, it is a part-time position. Cash Hemmingson is his name. Notice it says motion to approve hiring Cash Hemmingson for snow shop and street maintenance. It's basically a kind of a catch-all if we need him for part-time help.
So he was initially hired to help move, and then he was working out at the golf course, and his current wage is based on what he would get paid at the golf course.
Correct.
Do we have, on that sheet that we get every year, is there a suggested wage on there for somebody who's helping in this department?
Did we keep it?
here.
Currently, he's at what, 10?
It's 10.
So this year it would have been 10, this 2021, it would have been boosted to $10.20.
That is correct, 10 to me.
But we don't have a suggested wage for somebody who's doing what he's doing right now?
No, because it's not we've not had someone in that position before. It's just kind of a fill-in. The only time we've used someone in that position has an active CDL, and then we treat them as contract labor.
And he does not have a CDL?
He does not.
What is Parker's wage?
12.50, 12. 12.25, 12.75.
$12.36 this year.
He started out at $12.
So Parker is now at $12.36. Cash is at 10 1/4, is that what you said? 10, 20?
He has not, he's still at 10 right now.
Cash is still at $10 even. So we would need a rate, and we would need a motion to approve the hiring for this extra maintenance position, rather than have a contract laborer.
So if we had to contract, let's say, snow removal, it would be at a lot higher rate.
Yep, we
Yeah, I
do
would.
15 for CDL.
But
The cash is only making 12. We don't want to pay our part-timer more than our full-timer.
No,
correct?
definitely not.
and without a CDL, there's, he's not as valuable as a $15 an hour.
Agreed.
Totally off topic. Did Parker get a CDL?
No, he has not.
Would we have an opportunity to get cash involved in a CDL program? Study for that?
He's definitely quick enough to do it.
I think the only hangup we would have, and we could maybe get around that by renting something, is getting a
A
second.
vehicle, yeah.
To test on.
Something with air brakes and large enough. But, yeah, a farmer would probably be willing to.
So right now, when we do snow removal, he does a payload or something like that? then?
Correct.
Okay.
Mhm. Or skid loader.
Skid loader, yeah. Okay.
I'm just going to throw a number out, $11 an hour.
That's what I was, I was shooting kind of in the middle, and, I mean, arbitrarily saying 11. You hear all that, Marcus?
Yes.
Long way to Washington.
Takes a while.
Sorry, I just keep hitting my mute
No,
button.
that's fine. That's why we're just pausing, so.
It's all right, let the party go on behind you.
So what do you guys think about the $11 rate? Is that an acceptable rate to everyone? So I'm gonna write that down in here. We would need a motion to approve hiring him for those items at $11 rate.
I'll make a motion to approve hiring Cash Hemmingson for snow shop and street maintenance, part-time at a rate of $11 an hour.
I'll second it.
Melissa made the motion, Darla
Starting when?
seconded it for $11 an hour for Cash Hemmingson for snow shop and snow removal, I should say, shop and street maintenance.
And we need an effective date.
Beginning when, yes.
Yeah, effective
Tomorrow?
Today?
Today?
You do it tomorrow?
immediately.
I assume he's not working right now, so. Would you like me to amend my motion to February 2nd?
Good.
All right, I will amend my motion to include a start date of February 2nd, 2021.
I'll second it.
right, we have an amendment to this motion again. The amendment was made by Melissa and seconded by Darla to amend the start date to include February 2nd, 2021. Any discussion? Hearing none. Marcus, how do you vote?
Aye.
Melissa?
Aye.
Darla?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
And Linda?
Aye.
5 yes. That was on the amendment, and now we move back to item 4, the motion to approve hiring. Is there any discussion?
This is an afterthought. Have you worked at the golf course before? Should the golf course be put on there?
That's something that you guys
Technically
do in
already-
the
he
spring
technically
anyway.
already has that position. I mean, we've never
Yeah.
fired him from it. It's just a
Okay.
seasonal
I just
job.
He was
didn't know.
already, he was.
Okay,
he was-
all right.
And he will be included when we do seasonal, or,
That's what I was saying, in the spring of the year, we always do all
I don't
those
know.
people anyway, so.
adjusted, but.
Okay, I just was curious.
And that's a good question. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none. Marcus, how do you vote?
Aye.
Melissa?
Aye.
Darla?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
And Linda?
Aye.
Yes. Okay, then you'll see that there's item 5 says shop PC, a motion to approve the purchase of a new shop computer, applied software for $1,216 coming out of the general fund.
This was in the budget for last year, but Lonnie was in the process of doing his shop remodel and didn't want to put a new machine in place when he was dealing with sheetrock dust and kind of in disarray, so it was delivered in January.
So what's applied software?
It's,
Company that put the computer together.
I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of a new shop computer from Applied Software at $1,216 from the general fund.
I'll second that.
Okay, so you both said it at the same
Marcus.
time.
Do Marcus.
Marcus, seconded. Is there any discussion?
What's gonna happen with the old one?
it is shot.
It's what?
It is shot.
Vote anchor. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none. Marcus, how do you vote?
Aye.
Melissa?
Aye.
Darla?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
And Linda?
Aye.
5 yes. Cemetery. Not a lot going on out there, I'm assuming, but,
I don't think he has any updates at this time.
okay. Water and wastewater, pumps,
Installed.
yay. And now we've got redundant pumps,
Yes.
basically. So that is a good thing. We're one step further toward the goal of having that place not fail on us somewhere down the line, so.
And I will also tell you, you'll see it on your budget sheets. You may not have picked up on it, but we do have a new rate for sewer implemented in January. And we did the program in such a way that it pulls out the 10% and puts it in a special category for improvement. So we are starting our funding of the wastewater plant upgrade.
30 years late, but that's a good thing. We're at least on our way. Okay, then we'll move on to the police department. I believe that the chief is here and Officer Sculler, and we've got the report.
Yeah, you guys have the stats in front of you. Unfortunately, we're missing, quite a few calls out of there. With the new year, with some new updates on our police software, we're having problems with that. And then our reporting to the FBI, our yearly reporting to the FBI is messed up as well. It's our program's working on it, but, so I think it only shows like 30-some calls, but I assure you there's more. They're just not showing up. We're working on it. Police chief conferences in April in Deadwood. A couple of days out there, so,
Do you have a cost for that?
It's just hotel stay and lunch.
yep. So,
The municipal league picks up the rest.
yeah, so just hotel stays.
How long is it? April 20 to 21, so 2 nights.
As of right now, yeah, they're doing 2 nights. They sent out a questionnaire to pick up some extra training the day before. So like a half day of training the previous day is what they were looking at. I don't know the results of that, but
Up to 3 nights.
yeah, unless I'm thinking wrong.
19, 20, and, oh,
Yeah,
actually, yeah, you'd only be staying 2 nights. You'd stay the night of the 19th and stay the night of the 20th. And be, I'm assuming coming home on the 21st.
Unless they go out the night before that and then be ready for training on.
You take the police car and use the lights and siren, you can get there that morning.
yeah.
It'll take a few hours. to
Instead of
get-
mileage in the past, don't we usually send them in?
Typically, yeah, last
Thank
year,
you.
it got canceled last year, but we did approve that I would take the charger, so.
Unless you're gonna need part-time cover for you, and leave it here. I mean,
It's shorter this year, so I don't know. I did take my personal car, I think the first year, and then we paid mileage. I don't know.
But
cheap-
wasn't
it's
that
cheaper.
because the first year you had the big crown event?
Yeah,
So we were kind of afraid of it going on the other side of the Missouri, if I think.
there was some concern there, yeah. Forgot about that.
It may get.
It's in Florida now, so.
I have a random question.
Yes,
Did you guys get a monthly update?
Yeah.
you
Oh, I
mean,
bet he didn't get it. 'Cause-
oh, yeah,
There were
he
30
handed it out just a little bit ago.
Could I get a scanned copy or an email of it?
Sure.
Thank you.
We can send
I mean,
it.
it doesn't have to happen like right now, it's just so I can see it.
You've got it in digital form anyway, don't you, Chief?
I will, I'll get it to him.
He will have in digital form, you'll get it ASAP.
Thank you so much.
Your name is not listed, nor is your address, so,
Perfect.
yeah.
So.
Are you taking Sarah with you?
That's up in the air. I mentioned it. She talked about going with me. I don't know why, but apparently while I'm in class, she likes to sit in the hotel room. I don't know. But
Don't they usually have spouse activities too?
in the evening, like there's some meet and greet stuff, so it is nice. And my biggest thing is, yeah, it's good training, but also my biggest thing is being able to pick the brains of all the other chiefs on the east side of the state. Like, how are you guys doing this? What are you looking at for policy? That's my big thing on it. The training's great. I don't know what you call that.
Networking.
Networking, there you go. Yeah, the networking is the biggest thing. But yeah, entertainment.
You need a motion made?
We will need a motion for that.
I'll make a motion that we approve the police chief's attendance at the police chief conference, April 2021, up to 3 nights stay and mileage, or take the charger.
I'll second that.
Marcus, I just sent it to you.
Thank you.
Okay, I like the fact that you said up to 3 nights stay, because that does cover you in the event that you do have to go out the 18th, or you're gonna stay overnight the night of the 21st because it was late, who knows, whatever.
Yeah, appreciate it, yeah.
So,
Do you want to include that he can take his wife with him?
That's really his call. I guess.
well, I wouldn't have a problem.
I don't know if that needs to be part of the motion, or if that's just something he can do in his discretion,
I think I can give permission for her to ride along with him, if that's what you're asking. I don't know as far as stay goes, what's it gonna cost, an extra $8?
No, the only other thing is they have a banquet meal, and then I pay my spouse's cost for the meal, so.
So, we're not talking about a
Well, I
large amount of
understand that
money.
it's not a
So-
cost thing. In the past, we've always put it in there.
let's amend the motion if you want to add it. Or not, and we'll just vote on this motion. Any other discussion?
Who was the second on that?
We had Dave make the motion and Linda seconded it. Motion's been made and seconded. No other discussion. Marcus, how do you vote?
Aye.
Melissa?
Aye.
Darla?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
And Linda?
Aye.
5 yes. So, Chief,
Yeah, next thing on there is a vest order, or a quote for a vest order for me. We did Austin's last year, mine's due this year. They last 5 years.
Chief, I can't really hear you. Could you step closer?
Where's he at?
Right.
On the chair.
Oh, okay. So the next item on there is a quote for a vest. They last 5 years. Mine's due, it's due already. We did Austin's last year. So his has got 4 years left on it. They don't necessarily wear out, but the creases that you, from wearing them every day, the creases in them cause weak points. That's why they usually last about 5 years.
This is in the budget, right, Chief?
If we budgeted for this, it's just over 1,000, so have to get it approved.
approximately how much are they?
$1,389.
The quote is attached to his report.
Yep.
Page 2.
Of course it is.
I think Austin's last year was a little bit cheaper. They do,
1,100.
they do go up every year.
I'm sure.
I'm sure.
Yep.
Just like everything else.
Could we maybe surplus this to one of the congressmen in Washington?
There we go.
I was thinking about it'd be great to put on the right perpetrator, because then if it's weak, who
Yeah.
cares? So,
The congressman can have my old one.
that's what I mean.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm joking.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. Okay, I would need a motion to approve that $1,389.45 purchase.
I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of a vest for $1,389.45.
I'll second it.
Melissa made the motion, Darla seconded it, to approve the motion of the purchase of the vest for $1,389.45. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Linda, how do you vote?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
Darla?
Aye.
Melissa?
Aye.
Marcus?
Aye.
5 yes. Anything else you can help us with, Chief, or we can help you with?
That's all I got, so thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you for stepping closer.
Thank you for stepping closer.
So we will move on to the golf course. Mr. Larsen.
It's white, so if you're out there, you better be using your orange ball, and no other activity.
How about the trade-in purchase?
I didn't check, last year was $1,800. I guess we would like to trade in one of our Yamaha golf carts and buy one of the Easy Go that matches the ones that we have now. So I'm assuming it's going to be 2,000 or less.
So we could effectively say spending up to approximately $2,000.
I'd make a motion that we approve trade-in purchase of one Easy Go golf cart,
Nope, one Yamaha.
trade-in a Yamaha, purchase an Easy Go golf cart, spending no more than $2,000.
I'll second that.
That was in the budget, wasn't it?
Yes.
That's what I thought.
And one other thing is Lonnie's gonna try to get a lift, a power lift, and work on the trees on the north side of the course.
I don't know that that's necessary, but I guess you need something to do.
He was gonna see if he could get it this week.
You're talking about like that genie that's sitting all the way at the south end of town.
It'll be a one-lane drive,
Wasn't that one? I think that's one, but I'm not sure about that. Anyway,
but I'm sorry.
sorry.
Do they have a cost for that?
He was gonna check on it today.
It'll be awfully cold at the end of this week.
Right.
Anyway, that's more like golf course general. We've got a motion to trade in the Yamaha, how many Yamahas you got?
We've got two. We're keeping one because it has a hitch and we use it when we're picking up branches to pull a little trailer. If we ever use the beer cart, it's got the hitch on it that we can relocate the beer cart to wherever it needs around the course. So it's kind of nice to have one with a hitch.
Would you say that after you do this trade-in, we're at a point where we've gone through virtually all of them in the last few years?
I would recommend that we do this one that we're saving back now. We figure out a way to get a hitch on something else and next year trade
So
in.
maybe one more round and then we've got a little bit of a reprieve maybe for a year or two, huh?
Yeah, hopefully.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none. Marcus, how do you vote?
Aye.
Melissa?
Aye.
Darla?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
And Linda?
Aye.
5 yes. Excellent. Now we'll move on to the library.
The library board had a meeting last Monday, a week ago. Kind of went over our COVID procedures again. Paige is starting on planning things for the summer reading program. And starting today, they're having a blind date with a book program. So you go over and there's a very brief description of a book. It's covered in brown paper, so you don't know what it is. And when you read it, you bring it back and with a rating, and you get a prize. And then for every one you read during the month of February, I think your name is thrown in a hat for a bigger prize. So if you're interested in finding something maybe different to read, I picked up one today that said detective. There was a couple other descriptors. But I haven't opened it yet, so probably later today.
Kind of a neat idea.
Yeah, she's got several good things going on over there. So.
Blind date with a book. Okay, then we'll go on to number 7, which is a mask policy ordinance recommendation resolution. Could be any one or all of the above. And you'll see that you've got quite a number of documents handed out to you. One thing I should bring to your attention is we got this document, which I believe is just two front and back, right?
Yes.
I'm assuming that it was put in our water payment box in the last, let's say, 48 hours. I'm assuming that Friday the payments were taken out and it wasn't in there, and today it was. And you'll see that it's entitled 20 Reasons Mandatory Face Masks Are Unsafe, Ineffective, and Immoral. And then the back page says 6 proofs masks do not reduce infections. This is more or less for your reading enjoyment or non-enjoyment, whichever that may be. We've heard a lot of different discussions on both sides of this topic. One thing I'm going to add to this is that I contacted the mayor's office in the city of Mitchell today, and unfortunately the mayor had already left the office for the day. So I talked to the city administrator, Stephanie Elwine, and she and I had quite a long talk about their mask mandate, and you've had the opportunity to read that article that we talked about a number of times already. I was under the impression that came out of the Alaska, or the Anchorage, Alaska newspaper. It did, but the Anchorage, Alaska newspaper had actually gotten it from the New York Times? I can't remember where it came from initially. Very well written article. I keep saying that's prize-winning writing. It's the kind of writing that makes you realize this is an important topic. After talking with Stephanie Elwine, I found that the city of Mitchell had a mask mandate. Notice I said had. They had a mask mandate that was scheduled to expire on the 28th of January, unless at that time they opted to renew it, or however you want to word that. And so they had a meeting, and then during that meeting, 8 aldermen were present and the mayor. 4 aldermen were for renewing it, 4 aldermen were against renewing it, and the mayor was the tiebreaker, and they no longer have a mask mandate. So, I'm only saying that because there are precedents out there. People are saying, you know, we believe less in the mandate, but I will tell you, she was a good person to talk to about this, and I'm assuming the mayor would have been a good person to visit with about it too. One of the things that she brought up was, even though the mask mandate has been removed, a number of the businesses in Mitchell have opted to keep this. It's not a mandate. Even though there was a mandate, they took all punishment away. In fact, they never pursued anybody for not wearing a mask. They didn't have any fines. In theory, they could have been found in like trespassing. I believe there's, at the Menards, they had 2 incidents where they had to actually go and physically remove somebody from the Menards, because as you could see in the front of every Menards I've ever been to lately, it says masks required. And whoever those people were absolutely refused to wear a mask. Now, that being said, I mentioned to her, and she agreed, she's seen it many times. A person walks in the door at Menards, the sign says you must be wearing a mask. You walk in and you don't have it on, they say, sir, ma'am, would you please put on a mask? If you don't have one, we have one here. They put on a mask. They walk 20 feet past, they take the mask off or they pull it down. They're not asked to leave. They're not forced out. Now I can see where, you know, if they're starting to run around coughing and hacking and whatever, maybe they would be escorted out of the building. The point is, there's a lot of evidence that says people do not want a mandate. But she made the point, and I agree with the point, that having some kind of a policy, even if it doesn't have any teeth, at least it says to the community, this is a serious thing. And the people that are your government, your elected or your appointed governmental officials, realize the seriousness of the situation. That's an important thing. It's so important that there are still businesses that, even though the mandate is off, they're still requiring, quote unquote, requiring face coverings to come into their businesses. If a person doesn't wear it, they're probably not going to turn them away. They need the money. Everybody needs the money. But it's just like anything. Having this thought in front of all of these people is enough to make some people think, oh, shoot, I should put on a mask before I go in there. So, that being said, we have a number of documents, one of which is actually, sorry, I thought this resolution was, that resolution 2023, that shouldn't be 2020, should it?
Oh, good
It should be
call.
2021.
And
This will be the second reading, not,
well, I wasn't sure, because originally, Marcus had an ordinance, and Dave had a recommendation, and so I wasn't sure what was going to be presented at the meeting. So that's why I have on line number 7, ordinance, comma, recommendation, comma, resolution. So,
I thought the idea was that some council people were gonna get together and combine. the
We
two.
did.
which they did,
On
Yeah,
Thursday.
Thank you for doing
Yes.
that.
and that is this document, but
Yeah.
yes, so when the motion is made, if a motion is made, it will be the resolution, and yes, please correct the date to 2021.
So this past Thursday, the Public Safety Committee met, which is me, Marcus, Jeff and Austin. Sorry, Chief Christie. Trying to demean you. We basically sat down for probably about an hour and went through Marcus's original ordinance and Dave's recommendations, and we tried to put them together and find a middle ground, something that was more meaningful than just a recommendation, but not quite as restrictive as an ordinance. And we took out any fines, because we don't want our police going around finding people. Or at least I didn't, I'm not trying to speak for Marcus, but, so basically it's face coverings would be required indoors only, and it would only apply to a city employee if they were outside of their pod. And I got this idea from USD. Students are allowed to be together in a separate area without wearing masks if they're in their own pod. So for instance, that would be like Pat and Wanda in here alone would not be required to wear a mask. Jeff and Austin in their office alone would not be required to wear a mask. The only time they would have to mask up is if a patron comes in to do business.
I think that point right there that you just made is one of the best parts about this. Obviously, the fact that you remove the fine, I think, is extremely important, because our police do have, even though this report looks light, it's not. They've got plenty of other stuff to do. So, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
No, you're-
interrupt for any length of time.
Nope, you're fine. The chief and Austin recommended putting the signs on the door, so that is in here somewhere, I believe. Section 6. So that everybody would know upon entering that they would have to mask up. I don't think anybody's ever in here for a long period of time. It would only be probably 15 minutes at the most, and if they're not comfortable wearing the mask, they can call in, do the business over the phone or on the computer. If they absolutely don't want to come in here, find a remote way to do it. Same for city council meetings. I think tonight is an example of when this would be the most important, because this is when you have the most people in a room together for a long period of time.
True.
So other than that, it does not apply to any business in the city. Obviously, we are encouraging them to do something so that they can keep their employees safe, keep their patrons safe, and keep their doors open. Because that's what we want. We want people healthy, we want people working, and we want people shopping.
So what do I do if somebody rents or uses the shelter? Because technically that's an
The
enclosed
shelter,
park shelter.
Like the park.
So I'll put a sign on, I mean, I know it's winter, but assuming we get into May, graduation.
So we had discussed this, I guess we didn't go as far to discuss the shelter, but we did discuss the pool and the golf course and what we would do at that time. I think the golf course would be probably the most important place to have it, because there's people in there and they're dealing with food and they're more likely to be closer together. I'm not sure I'd be too concerned with the shelter house, because typically those garage doors are open, or at least I know when I have my child's birthday party in there, we don't just stay in there. We open up all the doors and people are in and out I've never seen anybody ever use that and be like completely enclosed in there. Now, maybe I'm wrong, I don't know. I guess that's not really my concern. In my opinion, that's still outside.
Okay.
What about the community center when the time comes?
This is only good through June,
Okay.
so if we decide at that point it's no longer needed, or sooner than that, I guess, even if it's no longer needed. I don't think the community center is set to open before June, is it?
No.
Okay, so at this point, this would not have any effect on the community center at all.
I would like to see us extend this or terminate it at the first meeting of every month.
I wouldn't mind having something in there that says it can be reviewed every month. It could just be a simple discussion that says, okay, regarding resolution 2021-03, anybody got any opposition? Anybody got any input? If the answer is no, it still stands. If the answer is, excuse me, and then there's a valid point, then it may be rescinded, it may be enhanced, who knows? That's not a bad idea to have it reviewed.
Sorry.
Could I,
Yes, go ahead, Marcus.
I thought somebody was about to start speaking too. I just wanted to say, I know like Dave wants to review it regularly at each month, and I think that that's something we can totally do because it's a resolution. All it needs is the single reading and then passage. So I think like if we want to repeal it, that's a simple enough task that anyone who like wants to do that, take that step, they can have that repeal ready at the first meeting of the month, and then we just discuss it and debate that like a normal resolution. So I'm not opposed to that circumstance happening. I just don't necessarily think it needs to be written into it, since it does have a specified like kill date.
Right, and
Does that make sense?
you've also added the words unless sooner terminated or extended. So
Yeah,
since you
I'm trying to
say,
be really general about that, so that way we can still take our steps that we feel necessary, given the fact that COVID is an amorphous virus right now.
correct.
So I guess, Mr. Mayor and Pat, just when you guys are doing the agenda, just have a line on there every meeting for discussion for the resolution.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with Marcus. I don't think it necessarily needs to be in the document. We can just have it on the agenda. If anybody has any questions or concerns, either I
Where
or
did some of
Marcus.
where did this come from?
I did that from Department of Health website.
So what's this mean for Union County? So,
They do a rolling average, or they do a rolling, so it's a 14-day rolling number, so it changes all the time. So I look at this website every day, I look at the new cases, and then I break it down by the counties that mean something to me, or counties that are in our area. So, for statewide, it's a trend, a downward trend. Apparently yesterday was 69, today is 50. Minnehaha County, that tells the 14-day trend. Same for Lincoln County, Union County, and then I don't normally look at these two counties, but I thought with these might be points of interest, Clay County and Yankton County.
so every trend line is down except Yankton, and it's pretty level.
Yeah, I mean, that's two.
Okay.
The scary thing is, though, right before I came tonight, I was watching the news, and this new virus is all around us.
Right?
Yeah, it's getting closer.
We are one of the very few, right, North Dakota, South Dakota,
Iowa.
and Iowa, but it's all
Yeah,
around us.
Yeah, I think they said 37 states.
It's now affected, you saw that too.
Mhm.
Yeah, and at work today, they alerted us on
Did
that
they?
too.
And that's the beautiful part about the statement that says,
We gotta look at it monthly.
unless sooner terminated or extended, I mean, it could even be enhanced. It could be terminated and changed to a completely different thing that is a jackboot, you know, I mean,
I hope it keeps going this way. But
too.
look, there's for school last week at 80 cases. We have kids that go there and wrestle. They could come here again. You know, we've been very, very
Yeah.
lucky, but
Rochelle said the big thing about that was they had their seating charts and they had to call everybody that was sitting around the kids that were positive. And it was 10 o'clock and they still hadn't gone through the list, so they just said we're gonna cancel it. It wasn't that there were that many kids that had it. It was just alerting all the people around it, and so then they just said we're gonna cancel it. Because I thought, how can you cancel for one day?
and be over it.
And so that's why.
Well, I think, because they were looking at close contacts, and it was a Friday that they took off. So if you got Friday free, you got your test, you find out by Monday whether or not you were.
Because Rochelle talked to the school nurse, so that's.
I think one thing I do appreciate like the statistics and the graphs. I think they provide some form of information. I think we also have to like remember that a lot of the cases are asymptomatic, which means they'll never show up because you don't get tested if you're asymptomatic most of the time. And so like every time I look at the website, I look more so at the statewide diagram, and you see how it's colored. I look to see how many cases are substantial, how many counties are moderate. And every time the majority of our state is moderate to substantial, like risks of spread. And given the low information we have on these new strains, I think we should take this step as a precaution. And at the next month, we can then assess like, okay, our state went from being mostly moderate and substantial to minimal and none. We're probably good. Or maybe we go all the way up to substantial in every county, and then we're like, oh, that's probably no bueno.
I believe,
Yeah, I just-
good information, Marcus. I believe the chief of police has some input.
I guess, yeah, we met as a public safety. We had Marcus and Melissa who were drastically on one side, and Austin and I who were drastically on the other. I really do think there was some compromises on each side. I don't think it's out of line to ask somebody coming in from the outside into a city-owned structure, hey, can you put a mask on? I like that Melissa was against the fine. We dropped the ordinance portion. This is I know it's not a recommendation like Dave had mentioned, it's a resolution, but, so that's basically that your counselor is saying, hey, we want this. But there's not a $100 fine, and we're not going real crazy with it. So, and again, I just don't think it's completely out of line to ask people coming into a city building, hey, we'd like you to wear a mask. But there was compromises on both sides.
So let me ask you a question. I'm not picking on you, but I am gonna say, we're in a city council meeting right now and you're not wearing a mask.
Right.
So how does that make you feel next city council meeting?
It is what it is. I should probably set a better example.
Oh,
I got 2 months left on my, I guess I'm good.
You mean-
Oh, yeah. I guess.
And Austin and I get our second shot tomorrow, so at that point, we're really good to go. Although, I mean, if you guys are asking it, there's no fine attached. I feel that's reasonable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I will tell you, I am asymptomatic. I went and had the test to see if I had antibodies, and I do, and I was never sick, not once.
See, I'll almost guarantee, where'd you get the antibody test?
At the clinic in Hayward.
I
Cost
need
me $80, but
Who cares?
that
Yeah.
way we could open our office, otherwise we weren't opening our office for
Yeah.
taxes this year. So now we both have antibodies, and so we're opening our office. But that just shows you, I've never had anything, nobody around me. My sister did, but she got it before, and I was with her, and I never got it from her.
Which,
So-
if you think about it, that's even more scary
It
because
is,
you know for a fact there were times when you were not wearing a mask. And
Yes.
when we know primarily, the mask does a better job of protecting somebody else
Right,
rather than yourself.
absolutely.
If two people are wearing a mask, then both people are protecting each other. So,
But you know, I eat lunch with two ladies every day. So I had it at some point.
right.
And I eat with them every day. Neither one of them got anything either. So,
And did they both get antibody tests?
no.
And who knows?
But
Maybe
see,
they both got
I am
antibodies.
also O positive, and O positive is the one that are usually our carriers.
Asymptomatic, yeah.
Yep.
Well, anyway, we're doing exactly what they suggest that we do, and that's have a serious discussion about it. And letting our constituents and our community know this is an important thing, and it's important to us. It's also important to the police officers. I don't like wearing a mask. I gotta tell you,
I don't
I can't breathe in this thing.
Yeah, I don't like it.
I hate it. But I wear the dang thing every single day to work. 9 hours, Monday through Thursday, and 4 hours on Friday. I hate it. But I'm not doing it necessarily for me.
I'm the same.
Yeah.
The key
So-
is to find a mask that works for you. Like, it took me forever to find, I have very sensitive skin, shocker, I know. It took me forever to find one that I could wear for hours at a time that did not irritate my skin to the point where I could not tolerate it. The dedication.
Mr. Mayor, I have two things. First of all, I would like to make a comment about the picture on this thing. This Dr. Lee Merritt is from the Omaha area. And I have a relative down there that sent me a YouTube video of her speaking. She is also firmly against vaccine.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
I got a kick out of this. I mean, if you're a fan of fiction and propaganda, or even if you're not, I guess you'll enjoy it, but.
And then, I guess the other thing I brought, my wife is big into keeping track of this.
Statistics.
If you look at the bottom, mid-November, the average for that week in mid-November of cases in South Dakota was 1,138, 39. And Union County had 250 active cases. And then starting up above, we have the first, second, third, and fourth week in January. Union County cases went from 125, 145, went up a little, 127. And the last week in January, the average daily active cases in Union County was 89. So just some other things to think about.
And just to
I
correct
just
Jeff,
want to quick talk about, because I know, I heard Chief mention that they're getting their second shot of the vaccine with tomorrow. And I just wanted to say something, because I was watching, God, I don't remember what I was watching. I was watching something that was talking about the vaccine. And it was saying, one thing we have to keep in mind is that that vaccine is not for children. They're still working on a child's vaccine. Which means even though, let's say Chief gets the vaccine and he's good, like he's not gonna get COVID anymore, thank God. But he has, let's say, an interaction with somebody who has COVID and his shirt gets COVID infected. And he goes home to his kids or his wife who is not vaccinated. Well, his wife could be vaccinated, but his kids can't be right now. It's important to remember that like this resolution hopefully helps not just protect the person who's directly in front of us, but like their kids, because if your kid gets sick with this and you have to stay home with them, you're out of work that long, you're out of your routine. And so it's important that we're keeping in mind that although there's a vaccine, it's not yet able to be distributed to everybody, not just because it's a slow process, but because there actually isn't a vaccine for children yet.
That's a good point.
anyway, I was not as far in one direction as Marcus was, for the record. I'm just not.
It's noticeable.
Huh?
To be fair to Melissa, when she said that one of us was on the one side and the others were on the opposite side, it was really me. And then she and us and Melissa was a really good central grounding post for us, so props to her.
Well, thank you to all four of you for putting your heads together and coolly and calmly as you could, coming up with what appears to me to be a pretty good resolution. So, is there any other discussion regarding said resolution? Aside from the fact that I hope everybody now has changed the date or the resolution number to 2021-03. If there is no other discussion, we would need a motion, actually, just to approve the resolution, right? Because this is the first and last and only reading.
Now, typically, a resolution goes into effect after, 20 days after publication.
Yeah, that's why I say it wouldn't really be called the first reading, it's just, it would be to approve the resolution, not the first reading of.
And I do want to point out that this resolution won't be during that 20-day hiatus. It'll be, as soon as it's published, it's effective, because it falls under the emergency powers of our city council.
It's a good point. So in theory, Thursday, it'll be effective.
Actually, I won't get the minutes to the paper for this week, Thursday.
Oh,
It'll be published.
Week
next
from
week.
Thursday.
Correct,
It has to be published to be effective?
correct.
Published or available for viewing?
Typically. Now, when we first did the pandemic resolution last May or June, because it was a situation of safety, public safety, that was precluded. So it became effective immediately.
It's kind of the same thing.
Wouldn't this be the same
I
thing?
think it's the same
I mean,
thing.
they're gonna see it if it's on the door.
I think it's the same thing.
Well, we-
What do you think?
That's what I thought too. I thought so in
Mm.
section 5, it says immediate effect and,
It was the Public Safety Committee that did it.
Immediately
Public
upon
health,
its
safety, and
passage,
welfare of
and
the
it
city,
says
it
in
shall become
publication.
effective immediately.
Do we need to take publication out of there?
Publish it on the
call
website.
Sam.
You can publish it on the website.
I'm on my
Yeah.
computer right now, I'm trying to figure out if the state defines publication.
Okay?
Wouldn't publication be putting it on the doors, putting it on?
That's what I thought.
Well,
Okay.
it would certainly make it public
Yeah.
Typically, publication is print. That's why
in the
we,
newsprint.
that's why we say the Alcester Union is our paper.
My phone's probably going to die, but.
Yes.
Hey, I have a question for you. You were on
Yes.
speakerphone in the council meeting.
Okay, excellent. Let me step to a place where I can get a moment of privacy, and I will answer your question.
Great.
Alrighty, I'm ready.
For the COVID resolution, section 5 where it says immediate effect, is that effective literally immediately, or does it have to be after publication?
It
And
would be after publication. So if it was adopted tonight, published on Thursday in the paper, it would be effective Thursday. Is my read of the law.
okay.
So it'll be effective.
The 11th.
11?
So we can't post any signs on the door or anything saying that masks are required, and that doesn't count as publication?
I don't believe so. I'd have to take a look at what publication actually says, but my understanding is published officially in the paper.
I would agree with that.
Okay, thank you.
Does that answer our question?
I believe so.
Okay, let me know if you've got anything else.
All right, thanks.
Thank
Just
you.
hold it that until the 11th.
Now,
You could put signs up.
Yeah.
Well, we can still put the
Put
signs
the
up.
signs up and
I
hope
mean,
that.
you can put the sign up
Start
anytime.
getting
They're
them ready
required
for it.
to, if you have a website, they're required to post it on the website, so if the website's up and running, you can post it there.
So, we would need a motion to approve the resolution.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 2021-03, a resolution of the City of Alcester, South Dakota, addressing and responding to COVID-19.
I'll second it.
Motion made by Melissa and seconded by Darla to approve resolution 2021-03. You can read the label. She read it when she made the motion. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none. Linda, how do you vote?
Aye.
Dave?
No.
Darla?
Aye.
Melissa?
Aye.
And Marcus?
Aye.
4 yes, 1 no, motion passes. All right, set that off to the side. And we will move on to item number 8, which is an employee bonus discussion regarding longevity/performance-based bonus or bonuses.
So I apologize, this was not sent out in your packets because Marcus and I were polishing this up until the last minute.
Melissa,
Yes?
have you made any changes since the last time I saw it?
I don't think so.
Okay, can I have a copy?
Okay.
Thank you.
So, long story short, since I started on the council, every budget meeting, the budget committee has discussed implementing some sort of way of rewarding good performance and rewarding those who are with the city for a long period of time. And unfortunately, it hasn't been till now until we've actually sat down to work on it. So basically, in order to do performance-based raises, we need to have a policy that tells you how you judge someone's performance. So what that would require is taking our current policy 2.6, which is on the single sheet of paper that I gave you, and replacing it with something more detailed that just explains how the process would work, and that is the new 2.6 on the bottom. So I have the old one there at the top and the new one at the bottom so you can compare. And then on the second page, that is the 3.2 and 3.3 would be completely new sections. They would not be replacing anything. I did not know what to put for a dollar amount. Marcus and I kind of bounced ideas off of each other, and we just decided to put in some placeholders. So I am not 100% committed to the numbers that are in 3.2. Those are just there to give you an idea. If you want those changed with something else, that is completely fine. The performance review form, which is this one, it says 2021, or Form 2021A. Pat had sent me 2 documents that were templates for 2 examples of what we could use for this form. And I did not make copies of those, but I have them here if you want to see them. The one was 5 pages long, the other one was 1 page long. And there were parts, kind of like the resolution we just passed, there were parts of both that I liked and parts that I didn't like, and I wanted it to be comprehensive, but I didn't want it to be so extensive and exhaustive that people would never do it. The one had a weighting attached to it, so you would be judged percentage-wise on different areas. My only concern about that was I wasn't sure that each topic applied to each employee equally. And I wanted to have a form that put every employee on the same level ground, but yet still came up with a scoring system. So you'll see that that's these columns here, just so that you know what unsatisfactory, satisfactory, good, excellent, so that there's some sort of number attached to those, so that there is some sort of qualitative way of adding that up. Or quantitative way of. So if anybody wants to see those, I have them, or otherwise I'm sure Pat could bring them for you if you want to see what the other ones look like.
If it's all right, I'd like to interject some things here. We've had a few different discussions, and we meaning Melissa and I, concerning this, and only because we just happened to discuss it a little bit. One of the things that I've seen in the not too distant past has been, I guess, inequities in how some of the committees are dealing with their individual employees that might be related to said committee. So one thing that I would suggest that aldermen do would be to review your committee's responsibilities. Say, for instance, you're the liquor store committee. Now, I use that as an example because we don't have any employees in the liquor store. But let's pretend like Barry and Teresa are employees. Well then, in that case, I would have the ability as liquor store chair to put together a review like this and sit down with them and say, well, you've done well here and here and here and here, and here are some areas where you maybe could use a little bit of improvement. I think some of those things are and this is not meant to be an admonishment. I don't think anybody's more guilty than anybody else of anything, but I think we're just lacking the time or maybe the structure to do this adequately. And I've seen some evidence of that in the fact that some benefits could actually be at risk for some employees because they have not been properly trained, properly directed by, say, for instance, their committee or the committee that would be assigned to have a review with them. I think it's imperative for those reviews to happen. And whether it's an annual review or whether it's every 6 months, I mean, it doesn't have to be very often, but it certainly needs to happen on occasion so that an individual does have a stake in the ground to be able to measure themselves by and their own performance.
So how I have it written right now is annual, and it would be on anniversary dates. Again, I'm not saying that can't be different, like we could do a December for everybody. The reason why I chose the anniversary date is because it's their anniversary date, they should have something to look forward to. That could be the date when they get something. The most important thing to keep in mind about these is that they're not meant to be reprimands of any sort. They're meant for positive light, and that is what you will see reflected in proposed policy 3.2 is that, we have a separate policy for reprimands and punishments, if you will. This is meant to just give people their footing of here's where you are, you're doing great, or here's where you are, here's where we want you to be. You've got a year to do it, or I guess less if you do end up needing disciplinary action, but the way I see this is more of a positive reinforcement. It's not meant to be negative.
When I worked for Gateway 2000, which was a very, very large company, we had performance reviews, and you never used the term negative. You never said, this is negative feedback. It's feedback for improvement. And that's basically what you're saying. I think that's important. So, the other thing that I think is important to think about is this doesn't have to be moved on tonight. We can discuss this again at the next meeting. If you want some time to digest this information that's in front of you, that's fine too. I just think that we do need to try to get kind of a plan of action for every committee and/or department within the city so that we can say to somebody, you know, you're doing an awesome job at X, but I've seen where Y over here has slipped, and we need to make sure that you're not, you know, sacrificing over here just to make sure this is going well.
Something important to keep in mind when you're looking at the proposed policy 3.3 is that this is something that we have already been doing. It just, there hasn't been a policy for it. And that's dangerous to have a practice that there's no policy for, because each employee should have the same opportunities and they should be judged by the same criteria. And
So-
again, I'm not, like, the number amounts aren't set in stone, it's what seemed fair to me when I was sitting down doing the math.
So now I'm going to say one other thing, and we can have any other discussion we need to, and either go on or deal with the motion. But at one time, it was brought before the city council to discuss the possibility of having some type of human resources oversight, for lack of a better word. That's maybe not a good word. It does have some negative connotations. How about input from, or fresh perspective? That's a good way of putting it. I think that having someone objective be able to look at our policies and be able to say, you know, you really should consider doing this. It's kind of like a review for us. And I don't think that's a bad deal. I mean, I think we're doing a fine job considering the limited amount of time that we have to devote to what we're doing. But like anything, we can do better. So, I open the floor up to any other discussion, or we can move on to item 9, or we can move on to a motion.
I guess I have I don't think I could vote on this tonight. But like, let's under honesty. So does the employee tell the truth? So like, satisfactory would be some of the time, good would be most of the time, and excellent would be all the time?
Sure, so all of these where it's under topics came from the templates that Pat gave me, and I tried to explain them the best I could. Maybe I didn't do a good job of that, but the honesty one was on the, I'm not sure which one it was, it's on here somewhere. Okay, well, I lied. Maybe it was just one of the ones that was already on the template that I used, but. If there is something that you don't want on there, or that you have better wording for, we can definitely do that. That's kind of the point of tonight, was to get it all out there, and if we do need to make changes, that's absolutely okay.
Sure.
What part are we already doing?
longevity. I think it was it last year, Pat, that,
Yeah, Wanda and Dee, it was 3 years ago, and Dale was last year. And I did that because they did 20 years. So I thought that was significant.
and I just thought that if we're gonna do that, that's great. Like, it just needs to be in policy so that every employee knows that that's not something they got under the table, that's something that is available for every single employee who puts in that time.
Good point.
So on, did we do the 2% gross salary?
I did
Did it
a
think-
check for $200.
Just a flat amount.
And the reason why I wanted to do percentages is because instead of dollar amounts for the longevity is because 40 years from now, I don't know what inflation's gonna be like, and if I put $200 in there, that could be like $5 today. So I thought a percentage amount has the legs to go farther than a flat dollar amount. The reason why the performance-based ones are a flat dollar amount is because I honestly just did not know how you guys would wanna do it. And I didn't think we'd wanna be handing out a 1% bonus to every employee every year. Because that seemed like it was probably going to get too expensive.
At Custom Coils, after 5 years, you get $50. After 10, you get 100. After 15, you get 150. I think you can see the pattern. So,
Where I worked last, after 15 years, you got a certificate with a frame.
nice.
After 25 years, you got the certificate, you had to put it in the other frame.
That must have been a school. So, I think that obviously there's a lot of questions, there's a lot of maybe digesting that needs to be done. Does that mean that we'll leave this and we will revisit it next meeting? It should be on the agenda for next meeting. If nothing else, to revisit it again at another meeting, who knows? Are we okay with that?
Good start, though.
I agree. If no other discussion, we'll move on to number 9, finance officer updates.
I would like to recognize Miss Wanda tonight because 23 years ago today was her first day with the city. I did hand out the year in review. I do this every year. It's just kind of you can look back and see when things happened, and it also is helpful for me because I take out some of the smaller things, but I keep the big ticket items, and that's what goes in our audit. So anything that has to do with money, you will see again in our audit. So, but when you've been on the council for a while and you have a few of these, it's kind of nice to look back through and say, oh yeah, it was this year we did that. Or I also identify all the ordinances or resolutions so you know when they were modified. January has been a month of mailing things out. We got out all the W-2s. We also mailed out pet letters. The pets, we mailed out everybody right away that hadn't been paid because we didn't want to hear the comment, well, I never knew I was supposed to do that, even though you had the pet for however long. So right away at the beginning of the month, we sent out letters to all the pet owners who had not already contacted us. We still have probably about 50 to 75 pets that are
A good number.
in violation. So, but we will continue to work on that. I did talk with Lonnie. I will be putting an ad in the paper, and I will email you the map as well. But we will start the alternative garbage collection route effective March 1st through May 17th. So that is where we put the cans on one side of the street or the other, depending where you live, except for Lincoln Circle, which goes all down by that one house.
Karen Nelson's.
Yeah.
Shout out to the 400 block of Union Street.
Yep, we've done
For
it.
doing it year round.
Okay, are you really?
Yeah,
Wow.
everybody is in our block.
Okay, so.
That's pretty cool.
So I'll be in contact with Lauren on that as well, but I did talk to Lonnie and we are a go on that again, so.
Any chance that Good Street could be on the other side?
I can
I
talk
just
with
gotta,
Lauren.
somebody asked, somebody that's 80-some years old says, I really don't know if I want to be pulling my garbage can clear over to the other side of the street. And I'm not gonna go down there and do it for her.
We can try, I mean, that's one person out of all the other ones that are on the block, but, I mean, I can talk to Lauren before I let it go and see. And if you haven't done so, I would encourage you to go to the city shop sometime. Lonnie has gutted his office and it is all put back together and it's really beautiful. He did a really nice job. So.
Another thing I'd like to bring up, and I don't think I see it on here. I know that, oh, yeah, I do. It is on here, the petition deadline. We do need people to fill positions, and if you know somebody that is a good candidate, or maybe somebody you've never even thought of, or maybe they've never thought of it before, just put a bug in their ear. We'll move on to letter A, 9A, motion to approve the January warrants.
I think I had the biggest one, so I'll make a motion to approve the January warrant.
I'll second.
Motion made by Dave, seconded by Melissa to approve January warrants. I'm assuming, Marcus, are you interested in voting or not?
I've really been thinking about that for a hot minute. Call on me last.
All right. We'll start with Linda
Aye.
and Dave
Aye.
and Darla
Aye.
and Melissa
Aye.
and Marcus.
Aye.
We have 5 yeses. Warrants have been approved. There's an audit for 2020. You can see that the total cost is $8,500, $4,250 of which comes from the general fund, $2,125 comes from water, and the other one comes from sewer fund. Excuse me, then the other $2,125 comes from sewer fund. We would need a motion to approve that.
I'll make a motion to approve the 2020 financial audit from Quam, Berglund and Post for $8,500, $4,250 of which from general fund, $2,125 from water, and $2,125 from sewer.
I'll second.
Motion was made by Melissa, seconded by Linda for the 2020 financial audit. As you can see, Tom, Berglund and Post, $8,500, and the different funds from which that $8,500 comes. Is there any discussion? Hearing.
This really seems to be getting to be expensive for something we do every year.
Yeah, I agree. As a matter of fact, it is for the HRC too, and it blows my mind because, I mean, there's very little that changes. Now, somebody that does accounting and things like that every day for a living may say to me, you've got no idea how much more is involved. I mean, I don't do it for a living. So to me, it looks like they're doing the same thing over and over and over. Look, it was the same thing you did last year, just changed the numbers a little bit, but I'm sure it's a lot more in depth than that. But you're right,
That's my only comment.
more expensive all the time. Any other discussion? Hearing none, I would need a motion.
You got it.
No.
It's a vote.
Yeah, we're on to a vote. Yes, I'm sorry. I looked at the next page already, or the next line. The motion's been made, seconded, discussion over. Linda, how do you vote?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
Darla?
Aye.
Melissa?
Aye.
And Marcus?
Aye.
5 yes. We've got a Board of Equalization meeting that's going to happen March 15th at 6 p.m. There will be an appeal deadline of March 11th, 2021. And we would have to set the date for the actual Board of Equalization meeting.
Oh,
Is it,
I apologize.
wrong date.
It should be March 15th,
That should be 15th. March 15th at 6 p.m. as Board of Equalization. We would need, go ahead.
I'll make a motion that we set the Board of Equalization meeting for Monday, March 15th at 6 p.m.
I'll second.
Motion was made by Dave, seconded by Melissa for the equalization meeting, Monday, March 15th, 6 p.m. Any discussion? Hearing none. Melissa, how do you vote?
Aye.
Darla?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
Linda?
Aye.
And Marcus?
Aye.
5 yes. We've got a virtual district meeting, March 18th, 2021 at 5:30 p.m. I believe that we have to have signed up, what was it, like
1 week.
a week beforehand.
And we are District 3.
District 3, okay.
So March 18th, District 3, I don't know if you heard that, Marcus. March 18th at 5:30 p.m. Central Time would be the virtual district meeting. If you are interested in attending, you would need to sign up 1 week earlier than that. March,
Just let me know.
yeah. Just let Pat know, she'll sign us all up. Reminders and updates. We talked about the petitions. They're already available. An individual can get a petition, and there was a document that was emailed out. If I remember right, it's wards 1 and ward 2 both require 8 signatures. Ward 3 requires 11 signatures for an alderman. The mayor would require 27 signatures at least. It's a good idea to get a few more than that for anybody that's listening that is going to put in, because you never know. Somebody may have accidentally signed a different petition. Somebody may have signed a petition and not really been a registered voter in that ward. Who knows? Any number of things could be wrong. So it's a good idea to have a few more than the minimum. Election day, assuming there will be one, will be Tuesday, April 13th, 2021. I'm assuming that will be right here in this building, in this room. We'll move on to number 10, Alcester Community Building Update. There's absolutely nothing going on over there, as you can see. One of the things I think that was just brought up, and I don't know if you want to expound on this.
No, not really. I think I've vented enough to you. And
Well, have they given you any feedback? We should mention.
We had a meeting, or a Zoom meeting with the committee and the contractor on Tuesday. That was our bi-weekly meeting. And he suggested, he specifically asked me if I thought that the cart storage shed was the right size, so I walked over there. And it looks like it's the right size. I just think the doors are too big. But I think, I checked with the architect and he said they put in 12-foot doors instead of 8-foot doors because it allows more flexibility. Flexibility might be necessary after 2 or 3 rounds of golf.
No?
So, So we'll just work with it.
Well, and also, that flexibility could be when carts are outside the shed, a tractor going in there to do something, or, you know, who knows what.
So anyway, that was the only issue I had with that. I think in the next week or so, they're gonna be putting metal around the outside of the building. I had to order the metal for the roof, so that'll be a little later. The windows aren't here yet, and I'm sure probably the doors aren't gonna be installed, but they are working on starting to put up the walls on the main building. There's wood there and hammers and other stuff that they need, so. I don't know if they'll be doing much yet this week, but they're probably building the walls someplace in their shop.
Sections,
Like
yeah.
they did with the cart shed. So we're making progress.
It's pretty exciting to watch. Anything else?
That's all, thank you.
How about updating the volunteer roster for workman's compensation?
I don't think there's any updates.
Nothing needed. How about cash? Is he already on there, or is that not necessary? Because he's a part-time employee?
Oh, yeah, he's covered.
Okay, then we will move on to number 12, executive session if needed.
I'll make a motion to enter into executive session pursuant to SCCL 125-2, sub 1, personnel.
Employee personnel.
I'll second that.
Motion has been made by Melissa and seconded by Linda to go into executive session pursuant to SDCL 125-2-1, employee personnel. Any discussion? Hearing none. Linda, how do you vote?
Aye.
Dave?
Hi.
Darla?
Aye.
Melissa?
Aye.
Marcus?
Aye.
5 aye. It is 7:51 PM.
I just want everyone to know that I have a headphone in so no one else can hear. Also, my house is empty.
All right?
Does
Thank
Marcus
you.
have one?
No.
Motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Second.
Marcus, that's
Two.
fine.
Marcus?
No, you got it, you got it.
Darla.
All right, motion was made by Melissa, seconded by Darla to adjourn. Is there any discussion?
I should really just stop trying to make motions.
Hearing none. Marcus, how do you vote?
Aye.
Linda?
Aye.
Dave?
Hi.
Darla?
Aye.
Melissa?
Aye.
All yes, and it is 8:38, I'm gonna call it.
Melissa, if you let me know the day, I can tell you. It just depends if I have to work late.
Oh, no, it's fine.
Are you sure?
I shouldn't have volunteered you in the first place.
Mayor Hayter,
Yes.
you were out at 8:37?
We're out of executive session at 8:37. We were done at 8:38.
Okay.
PM.
May I make a respectful request? When you put people out in the hallway and you come back out of executive session, would you please let those folks coming back in get time to sit down and get set up, please?
I thought you were already.
No,
Sorry.
I wasn't. One other thing, the solar thing on the,
I do not. Thank you
on
so
the
much.
Oh, Vicky's still.
sign by the pool, somebody's nicked that and that's on the ground.
It's sitting on the ground, yeah.
Thank you so much. Have a great night.
Thank you, Marcus.
Thank you, Mike.
You
change your mind and you meet with this, let me know. It's just, I have a lot of nights, and not all nights, but,
Thinking about what month it was.
yeah. I mean, I don't have night, I don't work every